climate change and the implications that comes with it, the melting of our Himalayas. A problem relevant not only to those who host these majestic mountains, but to all. We believe this program will be a significant platform in disseminating ideas regarding the solution of the said. At the outset, I would like to welcome all the participants and resource speakers who came all the way from the comfort of their home to be with us. Also, a heartfelt gratitude to all present on behalf of the organizers and Kathmandu School of Law. We appreciate you taking time off your busy schedule to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to direct your attention to the next phase of our program, that is introducing our chairperson, chief guests, and special guests. With immense pride and pleasure, I invite you all to welcome our chief guest for the opening ceremony of ESDR, Honorable Jalnath Khanal, former Prime Minister of Nepal. Please give a big round of applause for our chief guest. Lola, Executive Director and Principal of Kathmandu School of Law. He is also the Program Chair of ESDR. And last but not the least, I would like to extend a warm invitation to our lovely Professor in charge, Geeta Pathak Sangrola. It seems another special guest, Mayor of Namabudhi Municipality is on its way, so let us keep that for hold for a while. So now finally, we'd like to welcome our professors, faculty members, staff and students from Kathmandu School of Law who greatly contributed to the realization of economic, social and development rights, the 13th edition. And everyone, may I now invite you to welcome our delegates. Please give it up for delegates of Bangladesh, delegates of Bhutan. I would request delegates to stand up. Yeah. Delegates from Bangladesh. Delegates from Bhutan. Delegates from China. Delegates from India. From Nepal. And from Pakistan. Thank you all. I'm immensely glad to see such enthusiasm from our guests. Dear delegate, thank you so much for participating and bringing a part of your respective country to us. And these flags together look really beautiful. Now with this, let us proceed to the inauguration ceremony. Our honorable guest, our honorable chief guest will now inaugurate the 13th Winter Residential School on Economic, Social and Development Right by lighting the lamp. I request our audience to stand in their respective seats to display the respect for fire. Those who are present, and despite me not being able to spell out the name of everybody, we are very thankful that you're here today. So without further ado, proceeding with the ceremony. The first event of our opening ceremony is a little surprise that the alumni of ESDR had arranged for the participants of this ESDR. So we thought we would give you a glimpse before you start this journey of 21 days. We thought we would give you a glimpse of what it is through a documentary reflecting the past ESDR. So I request the volunteers to, the curtains are already closed, the door maybe. Person. Mr. Sajiv Dhakal of Ward number 2 of Namabudhi Municipality. Ladies and gentlemen, proceeding with our keynote speech, I now invite the person who can explain this winter school far better than any documentary. This man, the man behind the idea of ESDR. You have heard a little from him in the documentary, and I'm sure you'll appreciate his message much more in person. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Professor Dr. Yuvraj Sangrola.
Dean of Delhi University Law Faculty and my guru, Namita Agrawal, and my friend in arm, Amir Rana, Director, Peace Institute of Pakistan, and my another friend in Am, Shanjayaji, my student colleague Raj Sandhu, my student colleague Mustafa, and my colleagues, professors, associate professors, assistant professors, participants of the 13th Residential School on Economic, Social and Development Rights, students and all the staff. I would like to welcome you in Outreach Campus. Thank you very much. This is 13th year, and I do always remember, and I always talk this when I stand to speak in this program. The very first residential school, the inauguration finished, and I just started the class. I got a phone call from Prakash that my mother died. So it was a quite unusual time for me. Should I say to the participant and stop teaching, go to Kathmandu to start funeral of my mother, or I should continue teaching another 45 minutes and ask him to stop funeral until that time I arrived from here to the hospital. I thought I should stay here because that many people who had come from different parts of country would be disturbed if I had divulged that my mother died, and then they would be talking about it. So I said, okay, you go on doing some regular funeral process. You can drive from hospital to Pashupatinath. I will straight come to Pashupatinath. So I kept teaching, and nobody noticed that my mother had died, but I was still teaching. I left the class telling nothing to my colleagues, but I told lie that I have been called by the government officials for a very, very urgent meeting, so I would like to go back. You continue and I will be back evening. So they continued it, and I did not come back. I told it only in the evening that my mother is dead, so I cannot come for another 13 days. Please continue the program. So this reminds me every time when I speak in residential school. Why do I speak is like it's a commitment. It's a commitment to bring South Asia and China together. There are a lot of ideas in India, in China, in Bangladesh, in Nepal, in Pakistan. But what is a very firm belief I have in my mind and my heart both is that if China, Pakistan, India, entire South Asia do not work together, they will destroy all of them one day. It's my conviction. So from our side, for the last 13 years, we have been bringing very young students to discuss. The first day they come here, they come as Indian, Pakistani, Bengali, Nepali, Chinese, Indian. They have a gadget. They are too nationalist. They are too patriotic. They criticize each other's culture. They say that, oh, Chinese culture, oh, Indian culture. And we intentionally put them together in one room, one Indian, one Chinese. Geeta and I come here, but we stay in separate room. We don't share the room. So sometime in the past and this year also, there are couples, but we don't let them to stay together because they are not here as wife and husband, uncle and auntie, but they are participants. And what is nice was last year, the boy from Delhi, over the last 21 days, learned a very good Chinese revolutionary song, and he's saying that song in the closing session. And the Chinese student, he was a PhD student from Beijing Renmin University. He also learned a Hindi song, and he also sang that song. And you could see in the documentary, one Indian student who had a very nice voice, he made a song about OBOR, one belt and one road. Their governments are fighting, but their citizens are developing. BRI song and other, and Indians are becoming more closer to Chinese, Chinese are becoming more closer to Indians, they become friends. So we have 500 people like them now in South Asia in 13th program. So they're making change. They're making change, like Raj Sandhu now, a PhD man, an assistant professor. He was alumni of this program. So he has become a very ardent speakers of ESDR, China-India relation, better investment and all this kind of thing in India. So this is a platform, not very significantly big in terms of impact. But what do Kathmandu School of Law and we believe is like? A plant does not grow like a plant in one day. It germinates out of seed. We wait for a long time and it generates fruits after some time. It generates fruits means it generates countless of seeds and we can germinate more plants out of it, is the theory that we follow. We have not taken money from any country or any association for this program. It is absolutely an indigenous program. Part of the program, students pay fee. Part of the program, Kathmandu School of Law has an annual budget and we put that money into it. None of the resident professors who come here, they charge money for teaching. And many of them, they buy tickets to come here for themselves. So this is what is a perfect collaboration between South Asia and China and among South Asian nations. So we are breaking the psyche of we becoming too much nationalist, too much patriotic against other. It is nice if I become a nationalist for the interest of Nepal, that's nice. But it is always bad if I become a nationalist against India, against Bangladesh, against China. That's what not acceptable. So nationalism should be a kind of beautiful drink that we drink at home. But we don't get drunk and destroy another's gate, another's road, or another's way. So that is what. In the beginning, we thought this program probably would not be very successful. But now this has been absolutely successful program. So our bill to make Kathmandu School of Law together with some other colleges to make a university is in consideration of the government. I got a call from the Chief Minister yesterday that we should sit down quickly after this program is finished and we have to sort out and we have to declare that Kathmandu School of Law is a university. So we have a support of the government and there is also a commitment, some kind of commitment from the government. So we want to make this particular place a regional research center where everybody can come, conduct research, try to find out consensus among our nations, and prepare our students to be a good leader in the days to come. Hopefully after 15 years things will change because we see the participants that we produce every year from this, they think in a different way. At least they don't waste food. They do not hate another citizen. They engage in discourse. They think that we are rather friends. Problem always occurs between friends. If we don't know each other, there are no problem. We have more problem when we know. There will be more problem when we become more closer. So more and more closer. we have more problem, therefore wife and husband fight more than anybody else. Because they are the most closest people. I do also have a big fight sometimes. This fight is done because we know that this fight is to benefit each other, not to destroy another. So if we don't apply this metaphor to the national boundary and we become very good friends, so when we are in this program, we frankly discuss how bad it was when India put us on blockade. Children were dying, we were having nothing. And we asked our Indian students and our Indian colleagues, do you think that that was good? They say that no, that's wrong. So going back, we will talk about it. It's a kind of sentiment. So, same thing, like we make sometimes a kind of very joke kind of discussion. We put professors from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, from India and Nepal, and I instigate debate on them. Such a nice. Sanjay ji was asking, the first thing what he asked yesterday coming is like, is Amir already here? Amir ji asks, where is Zakir? This is the closeness. And last time, I think Raj and Ismail were in the same room. A professor, a teacher from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and from India. So the morning, both of them were complaining each other. He didn't allow me to sleep. The whole night is snoring. This is what is ESDR. So this is a platform. So this is especially, I thought, we have to tell these stories to political leaders of Nepal. We should not invite George, we should not invite somebody else. I thought we should invite a very sensible political leader who is nationalist but also not biased, who is a prime minister, a very uncontroversial prime minister, I should say. There was not a single controversy in his tenure, though the time was not very long, but he listened. Whenever we put problems, I was an attorney general in his time, but we went and put problems to him. This is a problem. And one particular incident, I always have a very big respect to J.N. Khanal. Let me disclose, we were discussing one day. There was an issue whether he should visit India or not. There was a precondition put from Indian side to the preparatory committee who had gone to India. They wanted this extradition treaty to be signed. And we did discuss what we learned from the preparatory committee going to Delhi, that if we don't sign extradition treaty, probably they would not be very much interested to have this visit as soon as possible. We have an open border. Border is not managed. What will happen if we will have this extradition treaty? How many people we will be sending to India and how many people they will be sending to Nepal? It would create a big problem. So finally, everyone was there, the Home Secretary, the Foreign Secretary, Attorney General, myself was there, and everybody was there. And what he said was like, I cannot visit India for myself, for my pride, in the cost of national interest. Sure, if they don't want me to invite to India, only on the ground that extradition treaty would not be signed, that's good for me. So the visit stopped. So this should be a kind of leader's national interest. It doesn't mean that he is anti-Indian. When he retired, and then I was one day called that, would you like to go to India with me? I said, why not? We went to Bhubaneswar on an invitation of a university. A man who can go to India as a chief guest in a convocation ceremony who is a former prime minister, cannot be said that he is Indian, anti-Indian. But in the national interest, he didn't go. So we thought that we should tell this story to J.N. Khanal. Probably he will take this message to the government, how people have been working for the betterment of South Asia and China. How important program this kind of institution are doing in the country. It has a spark a kind of discourse among people. So our future is not bad. Our future is good. We should go together with India. We should go together with China. We in between two big countries, Bhutan and we. So our role is not to divide China and India. Our role is to bring them together. Patch up them. If we cannot be a negotiator, we can be a postman to them. Take message of Xi to Modi and Modi's message to Xi. We can do that. But we need to believe, and this belief should go to the mind of the young generation. Because young generation is dynamic. Young generation is thoughtful. Young generation is active. So that's why I say, now you have to take up Kathmandu School of Law. I'm becoming old. If you take my class, maybe I will teach you the past. New generation should come and start teaching new ideas. So that is why Kathmandu School of Law is famous. We respect our young teachers. We nurture them. We sit together. We eat together. So there is, Nomita madam knows and everybody knows, there is no status definition in Kathmandu School of Law. By position, sum up, we are professors, other associate professor and other assistant professor. But even we don't have a defined place to stay in the meeting room. Anybody can pass seats nearby to me or my chairman. And a professor comes late, he stays quite far. So this is a more humanistic approach that we have been developing. So this ESDR is a platform. It is a platform for interaction of the young people. It is a platform for interaction of the academics. It is a platform also for interaction of think tank. Because in 21 days, number of think tank from India, from Pakistan, from China and Nepal, they come and they discourse with young students. So they will ask question. You could see there was a general, military general, who was talking to a student. And almost like a big fight between student from India and he. I had to mediate. And he said that this is a pain that we feel. And I said that that's a pain that you feel. But that pain is not given by my student from India. That pain probably is given by your military counterpart. Talk to him. Why you talk to this way to the students? That's not the way. And he realized later on, yes, I was not supposed to behave that way. We were discussing last time in Delhi. S.D. Muni was there. His blunt statement was that we are having Indian boundary is insecure. My response to him was like, a country with 60,000 people have been safeguarding your boundary. How can you say that that country is a source of insecurity for your border? My countrymen are protecting your border. So what happened was like, there was a band to play national anthem. And I asked these Nepalese Gurkhas who were in the band, could you stand up and play the Nepalese national anthem? They did. And I told this to the Rajasthan University when I was asked to speak. Our plane was hijacked from Nepal. I said the plane was hijacked over Lucknow. And the plane was hijacked by men who went to your office, purchased ticket, came into your airlines, and then it was hijacked. And this plane first was landed at Punjab. And then you let that plane fly to Kandahar. How can you blame that Nepal was involved? So I said, it is your corrupt officers who are hiding their mistakes, throwing blame on Nepal. And that's exactly what my officials do often to India also. So I convinced them that there was no mistake of Nepal in hijack of Indian plane. These issues are there, but this issue should not be a cause of divide between us. These issues should be something bringing us together to discuss. I went to Pakistan. I'm coming to the end now. I went to the Pakistan. There was a miscommunication between my friend Amir and me. He thought that I'm coming tomorrow. I thought that he invited me yesterday. So I was held at the airport. Somehow I got connected and I hired a taxi. And I was on the way going to Islamabad, main city. I tried to understand what is the impression of Pakistani now to India. I asked, how is the situation in Pakistan now? He said that it's better. It's much more better now. We are in peace, sir. This India is a big problem for Pakistan and Nepal. I told it. What he immediately says is like, no, sir. We have very many good brothers in India. It's not India. It is American who used Pakistan for many years. And now they left, we are in peace. This issue needs to be discussed. And some of you will be ambassador later on. Like three of the participants of this program from KSL has now offices in foreign ministry in Nepal. And they write a speech of minister, they write a speech of secretary, and they write a speech for all officials, and these three are working in all departments because their English is excellent, their understanding is excellent, their Nepali is also excellent, and they are nationalist within the country, but they are internationalist in another country. Ram Saran is here. He was the second batch man. He got appointed as an officer in Nepal National Bank, Rashtra Bank. So he now looks after the international department of Rashtra Bank. So he deals how to handle these issues from financial position. I go to India. Alumni come and they pick me up at the airport and they say that, sir, cannot we have another program? I go to Bangladesh. If they know that Jubaraj is there in Bangladesh, there will be a protest. Slogan, Jubaraj is with us. Hundreds. And they want me to eat in all of their houses, and that's not possible. So I have stopped going to Bangladesh. 59 times I visited Bangladesh. None of the university, except few, I have not gone and taught. So I have more students in Bangladesh. So that's the situation in Pakistan. They say that please speak whatever you want to speak. So I said, I proposed that time one proposal. Huge media coverage was there. China should play a role to bring Pakistan and India together. Because we are a small country, we cannot do that. So now this is happening. Modi and Xi Jinping decided to take China and India's relation to higher level. China is already involved with Pakistan. China is much more involved with Bangladesh, and Nepal and China have signed BRI agreement. Something very funny happened in Nepal. We are thinking that China and India are fighting. One of the biggest electricity project, hydroelectricity project, we gave it to Indian company. Indian company sold that company to the Chinese company. So they are much more closer than us now. So this is what ESDR is. We wanted to show what we are doing. to former Prime Minister J.N. Khanna. Hopefully, in the days to come, if government needs expertise in this kind of thing, at least now you know that there is a place in Cabre within municipality known as Namobutta, very historic place, and T.P. Sharma, mayor. I don't know whether he is a mayor or PN. He looks like more PN than mayor. Every day running, working. So there is not a single problem in this municipality we have heard. So what we believe is like, if people work, people support. There are no problem. Otherwise, I know it. And he is very kind to us. Like we have put 3 municipality mayor in competition now. Changunaran has given us 55 rupees land for the construction of colleges and other. TPG is interested to bring university here, fine. So you 3 people compete. Sure. But anyway, even if not a head office here, but the research center will be developed here. So that's how we have been working. At this point, I would like to end. Volunteers have worked hard. Program officers have worked hard. Participants have come from all 5 SHARC countries, in fact, also China. So discussion would be very intense. So we already briefed them yesterday. From yesterday evening, inauguration, probably you can show yourself as Bhutanese, Nepalese, Indian, Chinese, but after that, you're Asian. You know Bhutanese, you know Nepalese. So we should discuss that way. That's how we discuss. So resident teachers are there. Not very bad, not very good. Not bad in the sense that they love you. Not good in the sense that if you disturb birds, they will be very angry because there are too many birds in this campus. So you cannot make big shouting. We told them yesterday, we respect human right, but we respect the right of people. The right of poor people first. Rich are few, poor are many. So human rights should focus not on rich, but on poor. So that is our conviction. So we don't waste the food. That's what we said. We eat normal food. This is not a 5-star hotel. So what we can offer is dal bhat, our food. So when we come to Pakistan, we will definitely eat roti, India roti. But don't expect much roti because we eat rice here. Okay, for Bhutanese, I think I don't have problem. They also eat rice. Chilies, okay. We can give you a lot of chilies, no problem. So, this is a beautiful program. Hopefully this year, alumni conference will also take place. Second alumni conference. So maybe 300 participants will assemble in Kathmandu, and again they will discuss how can we make South Asia better and how can we make China-South Asia relation better, so that we can work together, we can develop our part, and we can also feel we are proud citizen of Asia, and we will make Asia a hub of economic development so that we all will be rich, all will be happy. This is how we have been generating knowledge. So our role is to generate knowledge. We are not people in action. So this knowledge we have been tremendously generating. With this word, I would like to welcome former Prime Minister and all my colleagues, including Mayor T.P. Sharma. We were together when we were studying. I was in law campus, he was in RR. So we fought together sometime in the student moment. So that relation is also there. So everything is therefore very positive with us here. Thank you very much.
Your words are ever inspiring, and I'm sure our participants aspire to carry on this beautiful legacy of ESDR. Now, with the theme being conservation of our Himalayas, the issue of Hind Kush cannot be overlooked. For the same, and to deliver a keynote speech, I would now like to welcome our respected residential faculty from Pakistan, who has been a friend to ESDR for a few years now. Please give a big round of applause for Muhammad Amir Rana, Director of Pak Institute of Peace Studies. Thank you.
And to absorb the energy of South Asianness which every year being created here at this place and by Dr. Yuvraj Sangrula, who is not only the motivational speaker you have heard right now, a man of inspiration, determination, and a true nationalist, true Nepalese nationalist, which has the South Asian characteristic as well. And at one sense, he is a globalist as well. So all three qualities I saw him combined in Dr. Yuvraj Sangrula. And this is how he create a lot of energy here. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Mayor, Madam, and all my colleagues from India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. I hope we will have a very productive and interactive discussion and discourse on this year's theme on economic, social, and development rights. The issue which been given to me today to discuss about the climate change, the Pakistani perspective. Pakistan is not separate from the two regions which are facing the worst kind of the effects of the climate change. One is the South Asia and second is the Middle Eastern countries. And most of these countries may be the victim of all the development had happened across the globe, and they had contributed little polluting, damaging the atmosphere, the climate of this planet. As Pakistan is contributing only the 1% greenhouse gases globally, but it is the 8th worst affected country of the global warming. We share with many of the South Asian countries the Himalayas and the Karakoram range, which is facing a lot of challenges of the melting down of the glaciers, which is creating the threats of the overflowing of the rivers in our regions. At the same time, is creating the hazards which is not suitable for the human settlements anymore. Not only the human settlements, but as well as for the wildlife. So this is how we have made this region, and this issue is getting worse and worse all across South Asia. The smoke which start from some parts of this region cross through India and enter in Pakistan. At least 3 months we face the worst kind of the smoke in parts of the Punjab in India and Punjab in Pakistan. And when the summer comes, all South Asia feel the heat wave, which is increasing. And only last year more than 60 people died because of the heat wave in Pakistan. And this was the threat that how during last 8 years our temperature has been increased around 0.47 Celsius. If the pace of this increase in temperature will continue, I'm talking only in the Pakistan perspective, but I know that this is the same phenomenon is going on in India and Bangladesh as well, and in Nepal, of course. Then temperature will increase at 4 degrees Celsius, and can we imagine that what will happen when this temperature will rise in this region? The Himalayas in danger. And as far as you are the students of the law, and these laws and the global protocols somehow is not helping us to protect our environments and the climate. Pakistan is among the nations who initially signed all the climate related protocols, and rest of South Asia as well, very happily. And the reason why we have signed all these protocols, they were not obligatory. These were only the verbal commitment. And if we look at on our internal regulation in the laws, which may not be compatible with our global commitments. This means we are not taking all these issues very seriously, the climate change. There is a need to be enrich the legislation process on these issues related to climate change. This is the most of the biggest threat ever. If you look at the Fund for Peace had conducted the one study that after 3 decades the global political scenario is completely going to be changed and transformed, where the climate will be one of the major discourse which will not only be discussing at the global forum, but shaping and transforming the relations among the nations. And as I mentioned that we are facing the common challenges, not internal laws, the discourses are not helping us to overcome these problems. At the same time, all these climate issues, they are linked with the regions. We need that there is a more need for the collaboration on the regional levels. And these hazards and these challenges are creating the opportunities for us to collectively deal with the common challenges. Last year, I think in 16 and 17, one group of the Pakistani and Indian academics has developed the framework for how the both countries can evolve a practical framework for the cooperation dealing with this, not only the issue of smoke, but how they can safeguard the glaciers they share. But most of even these academic exercises, so far the political atmosphere, environment is not conducive for these kind of the ideas and the proposals. But I think this school and this can create some kind of the waves and create some voices on our joint and common challenges. And maybe you will have the many poets who in our region, because the weather, the rain, the clouds, they all remain attractive subject for the fiction and mainly the poets here in our regions. And one of the Pakistani poet, he wrote a very beautiful verse which can be described as, and he wrote in the context that the India, the Afghanistan, Pakistan and India and Nepal, they are located at the tectonic plates which are crumbling somehow. And he wrote that how you learn the hater while building the houses on the fault lines. Do we have the time? Do we have the courage to create some continue creating, fighting, looking each other as adversaries? We can find the hopes from anywhere, maybe the China, good. But unless we will not be think ourselves that we want to change ourselves, nobody can help us. Neither the China, neither the US, and may not be the UN. So this is, I think, we have to take as a collective channel, and this is the one of the platform which is not only the connecting the region, creating the South Asians, but it is also collaborating, connecting the dreams and ideas. And I hope that during next 3 weeks we will have very enriched discourse on it, and we will at least approach to our policymakers to take this issue very seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was a very informative session. And I, along with the participants, we are very eager to attend your sessions in the days to come. And in addition, we're also very much looking forward to hearing shairis in Urdu from you. After all, it is called the most beautiful language of the world. So now, moving on to our neighbors in the south, east and west India, bordering the Himalayas and serving as host countries to a lot of mountains themselves, the role of India in conservation of Himalayas while making sense of human rights is equally imperative. To address the same and to deliver her keynote speech, please join me in welcoming Professor Dr. Nomita Agrawal.
Former Prime Minister Kanalji, my Chela, Yuvraj Sangrula, and my best friend of the world, Geeta Sangrola, and lovely students of KSL and other participants from other countries like Bhutan. And I'm so closely associated with Bhutan that today at my home there is a girl from Bhutan. So as my daughter-in-law. So I've been going, as I have been coming to Nepal. This is my 54th visit to Nepal, even almost 40 visits to Bhutan. And as I said, that ultimately I find a mini Bhutan in my own home. So I find not only things from Nepal, also Bhutan. I'm closely associated also with Bangladesh, being because I belong to Calcutta, so Calcutta and Bangladesh so near. I'm very close to Pakistan. I have too many friends and colleagues in Pakistan with whom I have been interacting. And of course, China is another place where I have visited so many times and trying to, have connections and relations with them. I'm here, this is my 11th ESDR out of 13. 11th I have attended. Two I could not do, and that's also a big story. I had a personal health problem, and I was not expecting that I would be coming out from that condition and would be in a position to come before you and will get a chance to address you, see you, or to tell you some encouraging words about this particular program. in order to take you to the whole scenario of ESDR, I would like to take you to Yuvraj, Dr. Yuvraj, to early days, that why we thought of ESDR program or residential school. You know, we were doing many brainstorming, you know, conferences and the seminars to understand that what kind of education we are imparting in SAARC countries. That was the time when I changed my mind that instead of going every month to USA, it's better to turn my face to this side, to SAARC countries, to find out that what can we do with the students. And that's one of the reasons I have been, you know, taking the students from Bhutan years after years to India, giving them admission in different colleges, universities, etc., as well as students of Nepal, and coming to this particular place. And also, this is the reason I encourage Geeta as well as Yuvraj to establish KSL and to have a different type of education. So, you know, for almost 10 to 15 years, we have been doing that. It's not that all of a sudden we thought of ESDR and ESDR is with you. But it took time for them particularly, and for some of us who were closely associated. And after that, we decided, let's have one such residential school. And every year, if we can change 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, we can have, you know, more collaborations, and we can, I think we can change many, many, many persons of the world as a whole. We never wanted to see country, the geographical barriers, etc. We tried to teach the student that what is actually human right and what is this economic, social, political rights along with civil political rights. What can we do for that? So, you know, that was the plan, and that's how the ESDR has been, you know, designed. And you can say in one word that I have seen the birth of ESDR, and I've also seen how the ESDR has grown to this level. Let me tell you, anyone, particularly this is particularly for the participant, you will realize after 21 days that what ESDR could do. Let me tell you that I have sent students from Delhi and also other parts of India, and most of them are using these programs. You know, the way they have been taught, they are using it, and they are getting big, you know, credit and honor in so many places, not only in the country, even outside the country. I don't have that much time, otherwise I would have given you a long list of students who have attended this program, and after going back, now they are holding good, very good posts. And in short, of course, Yuvraj has given in details that, in short, what the participants are going to get in the end. You know, you will realize after 21 days, I have, you know, jotted down, thought of 5 things which you are going to get. One is, you will see yourself more knowledgeable. You will find that the knowledge which you are going to acquire all these days are much, much more than what you get in your closed classroom. Because the teaching which is being given over here is not only theoretical, it is practical as well. So you will be very knowledgeable after 21 days, I'm sure, each one of you. Secondly, you will be more mature, because you will start understanding the relevance of these rights. So you will be more mature, and this maturity you can encash when you will be going back to your country. Then you will be more wise. As you will be more mature, you will be more wise. Then your whole personality, that will get changed. You will be having more understanding of the problem, and you would be in a position to connect the problems with the knowledge which you are going to acquire over here. So that's why those, even if you are thinking just one person that probably is not the right thing you have done to join or come over here, you will cherish it, you will like it, and you will see the change at the end. You know, this is one thing which I wanted to tell you. Secondly, about the theme of this, you know, I have my reservation, to be very frank. I cannot come out the climate change or the whole problem related to climate is a big issue back home, that is in India. Unfortunately, I come from Delhi. Though willingly I have not settled in Delhi, very unwillingly I had to settle in Delhi. My preference was Chandigarh when I started my career, but I had to come to Delhi because I could not change the venue of Supreme Court, and my husband is a Supreme Court practitioner, so I had to shift to Delhi because of his practice in Supreme Court. So unwillingly, I always say unwillingly, I shifted to Delhi, and I come from Delhi, and if you talk of climate, you know, I don't think there can be any other example than Delhi, that how we are facing and the problems which we are facing over there. So I'm not going to that part. Rather, I am, as you know, what I'm trying to give you 3 questions which you should try to ponder over during this period, you know, and try to relate those 3 problems, 3 challenges I would rather say, or 3 questions which I'm going to give you, and in the context of climate change. The first and very important one is that what is the current status of this economic, social and development rights in the context of your country? And when I say the current status, don't go by or don't think of international standards. Think of your country's situation. What is the current status? See, that is very important. You must look into that question. Secondly, which is more important, that is how effectively it is being implemented. You have rights, you say, yeah, this is a social right, this is my economic rights, this is cultural rights, as well. But how effectively these are being implemented? That implementing mechanism, you need to scrutinize that, and you have to look into that from a practical point of view. In practice, whether it is happening or not, are we in a position to identify or realize that what are the basic needs of the people? Could we do that? The basic needs, are we giving more importance to the basic needs? If I talk of my own country, you know, there are so many question marks. To those question marks I'm not going, but I'm saying, are we in a position to identify those basic needs? Or are we interested in constructing, you know, statues of 285 feet, or looking into the stomach of empty stomachs of millions of people? So that's very important. You have to, same, when you do this theme, you have to connect it. Are we serious? Why aren't we serious about the pollution of the capital of the country, Delhi? So the living that has become impossible. And probably that's one of the reasons I love to come to Nepal, that at least I get some good air. I store it and go back to Delhi. And then again I go to Bhutan, again store it, again go back to. Then I go to Mauritius, again store it. So that's how I'm probably surviving, otherwise not possible. So this is one thing you need to do. This is my second question, which I'm expecting from all of you that you will look into. And the third, and the most important is, what is the justiciability part of social, political, economic rights? If you don't have a Supreme Court or a court with a very broad mind, where creative interpretation is not possible, so what are you going to do? Or are we ready to give everything to the courts? What the political parties are doing, what the guardians of the people, in the sense that the state guardians, what role? Minus political policies or the government policies, relying on the court, I don't think is a right move. So you have to see that justiciability aspect also. So my request and my expectation also from all of you, that when you would be picking up or discussing or going into the details of this particular theme, you will be look into these aspects and try to go with some concrete suggestion. When you go back to your country, try to place that and see, even if you get 10% result, that would be a great achievement on the part of you as well as on the part of the country which you belong. Okay? I think Honorable Prime Minister we are holding him quite for a long time, and being a professor, as you know, always there is a habit, if we start, we don't stop. My chela has already shown that he can go on and on and on. So I think I'm stopping over here. But before that, I would like to add two things which you all must know. You know, the two pillars whom we cannot forget, and all of you and those who have attended the earlier, and the two pillars of KSL as well as the two pillars of this program are Yuvraj and Geeta Sangrola. You know, there we all are grateful to both of them for such an excellent, you know, everywhere, wherever I go, I always talk about this program, and I'm sure that you will also not be forgetting about these two pillars. Secondly, I must congratulate the team who has prepared that documentary. It's a well edited, excellent, on the basis of my experience, long experience, and experience not only of my own country, other countries. It's amazing, it's a very good documentary. So congratulations to the entire team. Also the girl, her voice is excellent, and go ahead with such kind of a thing. Okay, thank you very much.
But it still came as such a surprise to me during my visit to the city, last time. The entire city was covered in smog, and I had maybe around 10 days of stay, but the people living there have to face it every day. So definitely this is a huge problem that needs global address. Professor Nomita, thank you so much. And ma'am, we're deeply thankful for your presence, and we look forward to your patronage even in the days to come. Thank you again. I would now like to welcome Professor Sanjay Gupta, who came all the way from University of Jammu for his keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen.
Part of the family, so that is the hospitality that you get here, and I'm very thankful to all the team members of the KSF. Thank you very much. All the dignitaries, the political, the academic, the student dignitaries to me, because they are the most privileged one in this session. A very good afternoon to you. Very strangely, the persons from the West, they tell us that climate change is taking place, and you got to look to adopt to different methodologies to address to the concept of climate change. I am often worried that we, the Asians, have never contributed anything to the climate change. It's you, the West, who gave us the technology with all the flaws, and now you are talking us to regulate climate change. We were having cold waters of the pitcher, and we were happy with that. You gave us refrigerators, now you tell us that kindly regulate it. Very strange. We were moving on foot or using the carts, you gave us automobile and you spoiled our temperature. Fine. Still, we got to, again, either we should be moving backwards or we got to adapt to the new methodology. That's the dilemma that we are in. Moreover, we the Asians, are bhasmasurs for ourselves only. It's a maybe the Lord Shiva pervades in this area, and that has given us the blessing that you be the bhasmasur for yourself. Because we are dividing. We are saying East Asia, South Asia, West Asia. We are never saying Asia as such. We are entering into agreement. Okay, China, Pakistan from that side, India, China from this side, Nepal, China from this side. What we are doing? We are talking of Himalayas, and we are ourselves eroding Himalayas from all the sides. What will be left of Himalayas then? We got to come to a consensus where any development activity which takes place in this area, all the persons should be there as a party. Then and only then we can preserve Himalayas. Now, I have been assigned a topic that I should be talking of what initiative the India is taking. Now, you can judge the seriousness of the initiative which India is taking, that we have got a Council on Climate Change and the Prime Minister heads that. So the political will is there. And then we have adopted many national missions. We have got a mission on solar energy, we have got a mission on water, we have got a mission on agriculture, we have got mission to sustain the Himalayan ecosystem. So multiple missions are there, and one of the minister is taking care of all those missions and ultimately addressable to the Prime Minister and his council. If such a political will remains there and the Prime Minister is taking class of everybody that what you are doing in this area and having what you call that classify that man ki baat with every department, that the change is going to happen. And the best example, if you intend to see, is so far as Himalayan concept is coming, pay a visit to Himachal Pradesh. The temperature, the topography, everything is similar. We have got using the waters of the rivulets and providing the energy to the village level. So we are not dependent so far as Himachal Pradesh is concerned on that let there be an energy supply from other parts. They have resorted to, because in mountain areas you will find enough of sunlight and the wind. So we are tapping that energy and we are using that energy. So, so far as the Himalayan countries are concerned, that can be and used an example, and these are the initiative. Rather, there are more than that, but I am concentrating on this, and I'll put a stop here. Thank you very much.
In our recent summer school, the Kathmandu Dialogue, and as always, it's a pleasure listening to him, and so we look forward to your upcoming sessions. Well, the consequences of climate change and the consequences of climate change is not something that we are unfamiliar with. Every day we see, no, not every day, every year we see the flooding of Koshi River and the melting of Himalayas. I think a movie, an Indian movie is being released called Kedarnath, which is also relating to the flooding, in that area because of climate change and all. I'm judging from its trailer. I don't really know the content of the movie yet. So now, moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, I am particularly excited to welcome our next speaker, and this is the first time in a while that we had guests from Bhutan. In a while, sir. It is not recently, I mean. So the only carbon negative country in the world, we definitely have a lot to learn. Please join me in welcoming Assistant Professor Chiring Dolkar from Wangchuk School of Law.
Respected Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished professors, guests, speakers, and students from various Himalayan countries, it gives me privilege to have got this opportunity to speak in front of you all today. So firstly, I will mention few facts about Himalayas, which some of you may already know, but some may not know, which might get you thinking throughout this winter school. So the first fact is that Himalaya provides about 1/3 of our fresh water. And secondly, it is home to millions of people and unique species, many of which are found nowhere on this planet. It's interesting, isn't it? Thirdly, 400 million people rely on rivers originating from Himalayas for the daily water supply. So after mentioning these facts, I'm sure most of you must now have got some sense of how important it is for us to protect the Himalayas. So I've been asked just a few weeks ago to talk about the experience from Bhutan in protecting the Himalayas. So Bhutan has some of the most rugged terrain in the world, characterized by huge variation in altitude. So within the 150 miles between the southern and northern borders, Bhutan elevation rises from 150 to 7,500 meters. And the great geographical diversity combined with the equally diverse climatic condition contributes to Bhutan's outstanding range of biodiversity and ecosystem. So currently it is reported that more than 770 birds, 200 mammals, which includes, of course, includes endangered species, and 5,400 plant species in the country today. So Bhutan has also some of the most ambitious conservation plan world has ever seen. And has anyone ever heard about our constitution in this room? Yes? Okay. So within its 2008 national constitution, the government pledged to protect, conserve, and improve its pristine environment and safeguard the biodiversity of the country. The flip side is that the Bhutanese are formally held responsible under the constitution to protect the environment. So according to Article 5 of our constitution, at least 60% of our country's land must be covered by forests in perpetuity, and it's strictly illegal to kill or trap any wild animals. So Bhutan is also very lucky to have far-sighted leaders like our fourth king, Jigme Singye Wangchu, and our fifth king, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchu, who are pioneers in conservation field. So as a result of which, because of all the support, we have almost 1.7 million hectares of Bhutan, which consists of biological conservation complex. There are a network of protected areas systems, including 5 national parks in Bhutan, 4 wildlife sanctuaries, 1 strict nature reserve, and 9 biological corridors that contain critical habitats covering all important ecozones of eastern Himalayas. So basically, almost 50% of its land currently is designated as protected areas in Bhutan. So also one of the unique successes of Bhutan is that all protected areas are connected by biological corridors. I am not sure whether that's the case in Nepal. I'm sure it is the case. And also today, more than 71% of our country is currently covered by natural forest, and Bhutan also has reforestation programs, which is further increasing the current figure. And also one more question, how many in this room know that Bhutan is a carbon negative country? So that's good. So the country has this record carbon sequestration, which is greater than its national emission by a factor of 2. And the government of Bhutan also pledged to remain carbon neutral in years to come during the Paris Agreement, as well as in other climate conferences. Furthermore, Bhutan also focuses on conservation of globally endangered flagship species such as tiger, snow leopard, the Asiatic elephants, white-bellied heron, and other lesser-known species of national and regional concern in Bhutan. For example, Bhutan is considered one of the critical components in the success of global tiger recovery program, and Bhutan stands alone as the only tiger range country that can be considered as the tiger landscape in its entirety. So in 2011, the tiger survey conducted by Ugyen Wangchuk Institute of Conservation and Environmental Research in Bumthang in the eastern part of Bhutan They found out that the tiger density in Bhutan is about 4.47 tigers in every 100 kilometer in Bhutan. And only in Bhutan, tigers occur as much as 4,400 meters above sea level. That's been recorded in videos as well, which you can see on WWF Bhutan website, if anyone is interested. However, the picture is not so beautiful as I've just mentioned earlier. There are some gray parts or sketchy part regarding the conservation in Bhutan. The survey also found out that the potential threats to tigers are habitat loss, degradation, poaching, weak enforcement, weak transboundary management system, and weak linkages between conservation and local livelihoods, leading to tiger-human conflicts. So again, the question arises: how is Bhutan resolving wildlife conflicts, and what is the government really trying to do? So Bhutan's success in growing wildlife population has often been led to conflicts with communities living within the protected areas. So for example, if I give some example in regard to snow leopards can be very effective predators of domestic elks in higher altitudes, where it is the only source of livelihood for the herding communities in Bhutan. So these communities who experience high losses to snow leopards are renowned for unbelievable level of tolerance. In one of the survey they say that. And so what they are trying to curb this problem is that there is a program called the Community-Based Compensation and Herd Insurance Program, funded by revenue from ecotourism and non-timber forest products like cordyceps, are helping solve the human snow leopard conflicts in high altitudes in Bhutan. So if I keep on talking about all the experiences from Bhutan, I've been just given 10 minutes to speak in front of you all. So it's basically impossible for me to speak about everything, and I think I'm keeping everyone waiting. So I conclude by saying that I feel it is good that such winter school has been conducted on such important topic, because Himalaya is so important, and we all know that the challenges to Himalayan region is not only impacting the natives, but it is impacting the world, because Himalaya is a carbon sink and also the water tower of the world. So protecting the Himalaya means we are protecting our primary source of water and the home of magnificent species like the snow leopards, the red panda, the black-necked cranes, and many others. So together we can all make this happen. So I hope you all have an enriching experience during this winter school, and I can't wait to speak with every one of you. Thank you, and Testala.
Inspiring. And although I'm not well versed in the regulation of national parks and reserves in Nepal, I believe the corridors are green routes through which these species can migrate from one place to another. And yes, in Nepal we do have a system of the concept of Tarai Arc that is present. However, efforts to make them more efficient are being done. So again, thank you very much. Now, directing the flow of our ceremony to Nepali context, I would like to invite Honorable Mayor T.P. Sharma of Namo Buddha Municipality for his remarks.
Park Institute of Peace Studies, Pakistan, Mr. Mohammad Amir Ranaju, former Dean, Faculty of Law University of Delhi Professor Dr. Nomita Agrawalju, Faculty of the University of Jammu, India, Professor Sanjay Guptaju, Professor Chering, School of Law, Bhutan, Association Professor Sri Feke Nanglia, Mustafa Hussain, Brak University, Bangladesh, and all the young students from South Asian countries, including China, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Pakistan, Nepal, and other countries. Good afternoon from T.P. Sharma, and welcome to Namo Buddha Municipality. I feel honored to participate and speak in the opening ceremony of 13th Winter Residential School of Economic, Social and Development's Rights 2018. Navabuddha Municipality was established on 10th March 2017. It was located in the center of Kabra Panjab district in province number 3. It is 52 kilometers first of the Kathmandu, spread over 102 kilometers and municipality. The municipality has total population of 27,519 people. The municipality has divided in 11 wards. There are 15 schools, English. It includes 47 community schools, private and one my property and my municipality property in KCL Outreach College. In this our two wards. The literacy rate is 67.1.7% is of the 2011. As of 2000 census, we are working to send the literacy rate to near 100 by 2022 AD. Kathmandu School of Law has been working with us since last few years. The concept of incessant learning is highly appreciated as the students in the communities are involved together to learn by observation and critical analysis. The has used positive to act in the community regarding legal activities. Kathmandu School of Law, in the private of our municipality, I commit the support in the betterment of this college, and with this college will be one of the reputed university in the Southeast Asia. We wish all the best for the Kathmandu School of Law College. Thank you, Chief Guest, and all the honorable guests for coming here. Jai Nama Buddha, Jai KCL, Namaste, good afternoon.
We are deeply appreciative of your presence and constant support. Your heartfelt message in welcoming the participants, giving a glimpse of our beautiful municipality and giving us constant support is really encouraging to us, the organizers, as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite your attention to the next phase of the program, that is the launching of a book by Professor Dr. Yuvraj Sangrola titled Right to Have Right. I would like to invite, just a second. Reviewers till date have given the following remarks in regards to the said book. An outstanding book for the development practitioners and human rights activists. The book is focused on post-Amartya Sen's capability theory. I request our Honorable Chief Guest Jannat Khanal to come forth on the stage for launching the book.
to address the inauguration of the 13th Winter Residential Program on Economic, Social, and Development Rights, popularly known as ESDR, on the theme Protection and Preservation of our Himalayas. Firstly, I accord a warm welcome to you all for the same. Most importantly, I, on behalf of 3 crores people of Nepal, would like to welcome the resource persons and delegates of the program from Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, India, Pakistan, and Nepal. I hope the delegates joining us from abroad shall have a splendor of Nepal, its natural beauty, the Himalayas, diversity, culture, and many more. On this day, seeing you all, I recall our ancient ethos of universal brotherhood, which has also been expressed in the famous Sanskrit phrase, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Dear participants, I have been informed that Kathmandu School of Law has been successfully organizing the International Winter Residential Program, ESDR, with new theme and concept every year. And the program gives a common platform for national as well as international participants from various countries to discuss and debate on common issues. This is why I thought that this was an appropriate forum to share my views on protection of Himalayas. I thank the organizing team and the whole KSL family for your kind invitation. At the outset, I wish to extend my deep appreciation to the Kathmandu School of Law for their efforts in organizing a program that connects the youth from around the world and engage them in a dialogue highlighting our common grounds and common concern. I must commend KSL for its immense contribution as a center of learning, research, intellectual dialogues of national and international level, and promoting the culture of understanding, tolerance, unity, and universal accountability towards nature and humankind. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal is a developing country, and I speak today. I am proud to say that Nepal now is on a steady path of development and stability. The dream of having a constitution authored by the Nepalese people through Constituent Assembly came true in Nepal with the present constitution promulgated on September 20, 2015. The Constitution of Nepal 2015 is the 7th Constitution of Nepal. The Constituent Assembly accomplished the historic task after an unremitting, untiring effort lasting for 8 years. With the promulgation of the new constitution, Nepal was structurally transformed into the Federal Democratic Republic, and the election held in the recent past formally erected the institutional and structural framework of the federal system of governments. Armored with the new constitution, laws and government structure, Nepal is now readily progressing on the path of development. I understand before this audience a blend of varied nationalities. I am reminded of the utmost potential which these regional relationships hold. In this blend of diverse culture, religion, and language, there lies a great prospect for economic, social, and environmental development of all. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal is popularly known as the country of Himalaya, and we the Nepalese are always very proud to live in the lap of Himalayas. But unfortunately, we have already been experiencing the effects of climate change in our lives. The consequences are numerous and severe. The seasons are shifting and the world is becoming warmer. Our air is polluted day by day. Glaciers are receding and water is becoming a scarce resource. lands are being degraded. Ladies and gentlemen, let me briefly reflect upon the context and consequences of climate change in my country, Nepal. Fast melting of glaciers in these majestic Himalayas and higher variability of rainfalls, resulting in shifting monsoons with extended droughts, less rainy days have increased vulnerabilities for livelihoods and our economic infrastructure. Such a trend is not only affecting high, middle, and lower mountain range of our country, it is also jeopardizing the agriculture in the foothills of the Himalayas that extends to most of the southeastern regions, the granary of Asia, for more than a fourth humanity. Dear professors and participants, I therefore would like to use this forum to urge all of you that we should collectively highlight the natural heritage and cultural legacy of the regions. I want to remind you through this forum that the mountains are the great source of clean drinking water, irrigation, and hydropower, a clean source of energy to reduce emission in the long run. We should promote community-based ecosystem management to protect our forest, biodiversity, and pasture lands. Nepal has good example in some areas to share, although at a limited scale. We hope to keep our planets healthy and green. We must hand over our planet to the future generation as a safe place to live, where no living things have to suffer for fresh air, water, food, and shelter. We should make sure that Mother Earth remains as a planet intact with its diverse economic ecosystem, its purity, and its beauty. The conservation of the ecosystem in the mountainous areas is not only important for the people of Nepal, but also for the people living in the downstream regions and beyond. Therefore, the issue of Himalayas and its people deserve special attention and support at the international level. I believe that such a platform that KSL provides, a global level gathering, would help us in developing our common stance and promote our collective voice for protection of Himalayas. With this note, I would like to thank you, Professor Dr. Yuva Sangola, for your unremitting efforts to address the issue of national interest, and the entire KSL fraternity for inviting me, and as well as providing me this opportunity to share my thoughts and concerns on behalf of my country with all these young and enthusiastic youths and future leaders from around the world. Kathmandu School of Law has always been a leading institution in Nepal for the development of Nepal education. I also hope that this KCL would be developed into a renowned university of the city. Thank you very much. We are looking forward to develop it as a university in the future. The discussion has already been started in the government level to make it a university. I am confident that it will soon get a status university and that we can continue to build on this strong start and create a new model of academic excellence which will add to the credit to both the government and the institution. I wish KSL, the organizers, resource persons, and participants all success in a noble mission. Thank you very much.
Honorable former Prime Minister, Honorable Mayor of the city, my professor, a true South Asian teacher who believes in truly a South Asia's region and an idea sharing hub, which I think most of us are deprived because of the borders and other things. Professor Yubrat Shangrula and the family, which could be easily settled in West the way other people are thinking, but which really thought to bring all young South Asians to believe that they will change the future, and that was what bringing all of us every year, after every 6 months, people from different parts of the region, and thereby really experimenting them to think that they are not different from the others who are living on the other side of the borders. And that was something I think you all must be agree with me, that this is an experiment which requires for us as a mandatory task, I would rather say, as we are deprived, particularly while doing our graduation in our part of the world. And of course, we have resident professors and professors, experts coming from different parts of the region. And finally, of course, the participants who are here for being well trained, and of course it requires your own effort to develop yourself, but the place is going to provide you the facility and to tell you that look at you, and to think about you, who you are, how you have been, what was the histories, just not about like last 50 or 70 years, it's about the histories throughout centuries you had been together. So with all these things, let me first make a very good make a comment that why do we need such kind of programs? As I have been interacting with the people in Bangladesh who did this KSL summer program, and believe me, they were doing excellent, particularly in the jobs, lucrative jobs in United Nations and other international organizations, as well as in government services. Why they were chosen? For the very simple reason that during our graduation in this part of the world, we are not fortunate to have our colleagues from other nations and countries. For instance, if I take my university, we had 120 students, and all were from Bangladesh, and none was from any other countries. So we lack diversity, which is most important for a global citizen in this part of the world. And secondly, we lack understanding in terms of others' cultures and uniformity. We lack behavioral understanding as well, particularly when we are in a particular surrounded identically within the national forum. The approach we developed, it's so strict sensu that sometimes we make some comments which goes against a standard norms, and it's very true. But when you are in a forum which gives you the opportunity to be with the people who are from different parts of the regions and different parts of the world, you got to know about them, as well as you get the experience of how they are doing, interacting, what is the cultures they are adopting, and sharing with the informations and debates with all of them. You develop a kind of understanding and approach which helps you in developing your individual thought and in understanding further of what we all are. So when I was interacting with the alumni of KSL, this is the core message they shared with me, that by these 21 days or 20 days of experiments and rigorous process of lectures, answering questions, brainstorming sessions, first of all, we get ideas, and an idea, of course, can change our life, and particularly for the undergrad level students and postgrad level students for PhD purposes and other research purposes. In order to be a true academicians who will combat the global challenges, you must have the ideas, and this is a particular appropriate place for you to develop those notions and ideas. Now, in this part of the world, it is very unfortunate that during my whole 4 years of LLB, could not get a single lecture from someone who will be from some other countries, sharing what is their approach, what is their understanding. But you see here within 21st days, how many lectures you are getting, and experts from different countries sharing their views. Your colleagues, your friends from other countries, you are going to get the experience of working with them. So this is how it is going to build you, within you, a very strong personalities who will be quite competent for the global citizens as it required. And secondly, the theme I really liked, particularly when it says protection and preservation of our Himalayas. Someone coming from Bangladesh who doesn't have that, strict sense of Himalayan mountains, but I would say the students from Bangladesh go to the judgments given by the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea in the case of Myanmar versus Bangladesh, where the tribunal at the very beginning said that the coast of these countries were connected and it is part of the Himalayan. So that's how when it says our, we also belong within it. And most importantly, climate change is a topic which requires, as Sanjay sir has mentioned about, that it's always the industrialization of Europe and North America which resulted to the sufferings for us. Now, what we need to do? We need to understand who we are, and then we need to make our strong voice. And for raising our voice in a strong fashion, we require some people who will have the competency and capacity to combat in the global arena. And for that, it is first and primarily important for us to know each other among us, because in the climate, it's a north-south divide. It's a divide between developing countries and developed countries. What they have done is a result of what we are suffering today. Be it Delhi, be it Dhaka, be it Cox's Bazar, be it Himalaya, be it any part of this world, we all are the sufferers. And on this point, I think we all will agree this is our common problem, and someone else have to pay for this. And that's why these 21st days of training will give you a glimpse or a picture by which you are all going to be united under the same shade that yes, this is the problem of Pakistan, this is the problem of Bangladesh, India, Bhutan and Nepal as well. So what we need? Now we need to move forward. And how to forward? Collectively, bargaining, writing, as well as being an ambassador of our nations, joining our government as well as other services, being a teacher, being a researcher. We are supposed to do collectively in this bargaining. And I think Professor Yuvraj Shangrula has visioned this at least 20-30 years back. And that's how he thought of bringing all the people here together in South Asia and thereby developing a collective approach by which you all will be competent to further combat this challenge. I'm sure we will have further so many lectures on these particular issues and topics, but let me first provide on behalf of me the thanks to particularly Honorable former Prime Minister who had been passionately listening, and I was quite in a confusion that whether he is a true academic or a particular politician, because the way he was listening to the thing was really amazing. And of course, the mayor of the city, among the busy schedule, had been here. We have Professor Namita Agarwal, who had been a well-known name, and the way she introduced herself as a true South Asian is something which a lot for us to learn. And of course, Professor Sanjay, the way you have given the glimpse of this problem and how Himalaya, particularly Himachal Pradesh, is dealing with the problem. And of course, we have from Pakistan, the way you have given that it's not something different from us. As I said, the problems are quite common, and thank you for highlighting this particular commonalities. Professor Geeta, honorable faculties of KSL, of course our assistant professor from Bhutan, the way you highlighted that Bhutan as a negative carbon emission countries, which is first for us a learning as well as a projecting towards the other parts of the world, that look at the formula we are following can be a good example for others. And of course, the participants, thank you very much on my behalf as well as on behalf of the KSL team, and bringing you from Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan and India as well as China. It was not an easy task, and we understand the situations and circumstances. It was absolutely required a lot of effort from the side of the organizers. So give a big hand to the organizers who made this event possible and who continued this commitment. And well, it's going to be an exciting time for me as well as to learn a lot. Coming here for me is like knowing and learning more. Of course, I agree with Professor Professor Namita ma'am, that I'm also coming here for fresh air, which is, Dhaka being the worst in air pollution. So it's again recharging myself, and the participants from Bangladesh, I'm sure you are going to experience the same. Let us learn a lot, and let us believe that learning the best even from the challenges we are facing day to day. Don't look at the problems, but look at the prospects and try to, develop. This is a very good opportunity for us to interact with people from other countries and knowing how they are doing things. So with all these things, I conclude by saying that where the mind is led forward by thee into the ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my region awake. Thank you very much.
Sir, there was so much zeal and enthusiasm in his presentation. Maybe it's the young blood, no offense to our respected professors. And again, that his speech was a very accurate portrayal of what ESDR actually stands for. That is, together we can. And yeah, in the days to come, I'm sure the participants will definitely understand each other, and they will try to understand each other's problem and come up with a solution that could address the theme that we have for 13th edition of ESDR. I would now like to invite our program chair, Professor Sangrola, to formally declare the opening of 13th.
On my behalf, you can
Thank you, sir. So, on behalf of Professor Sangrola and Kathmandu School of Law, I hereby declare the formal opening of 13th edition of this winter residential school, ESDR. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the So now we are at the end of our program. Before we break for lunch, I would request all of you to stand at the left side, my left or their left? This side of the hall for a group photo.
Our memorial is best in Stetson.
Oh, and had participated in Stetson moot court competition that was being held in South Korea, and we have just received the news that our memorial has been declared to be the best. So once again, a round of applause.